Hi guys, let's talk about winter running and the injuries and joint pain that can come with it and what you need to know to stay safe. So, the weather has changed. Surfaces have gotten slipperier, and if you're somebody who perseveres and wants to run outside no matter what, there's things you need to know about what your brain does when winter comes and running surfaces get more slick. So, first thing we need to understand is our brain's job is to protect us from injury. So, the minute I see a surface that looks wet, cluttered, slippery, which is basically every trail and sidewalk right now, right? Even if it's partially clear, we still have some chunks and some potentially frosty spots. Anyway, your brain's job is to protect you from falling on that. So what happens the minute the weather turns is that we change the way we walk and we change the way we run to prevent from falling and getting hurt. And when we change the way we run, it can make us less efficient and more at risk for soft tissue overuse injuries in your foot, like plantar fasciitis, your shins, like shin splints or stress fractures, and hip with IT band syndrome, as well as an SI joint dysfunction, which is single-sided low back pain. So let's talk about how we change how we run. When I run normally, what I want to see is my foot come to midline. So if I bring one foot in front of the other, like I'm trying to run on a line or run on a tightrope, the closer I am to the line, the more that puts my hip muscle on stretch. The more on stretch it is, the more power I'm creating for push-off. So we love that, right? Like I want more power when I push off. However, the minute my body perceives or my brain perceives an unlevel surface, okay, this goes for sand and grass as well, my brain's gonna say, okay, let's get wider. Let's get stiffer. Let's not let me go through so many degrees of freedom with my movements. So my legs hit, my feet hit a little wider when I run, my ankle gets a little stiffer, my knee gets a little stiffer, and my hip gets a little stiffer, because if I decrease the amount of range of motion I go through, it's less for my brain to have to control in case of emergency. If my base of support is wider, then I'm safer. I don't have to be so stable and have as much muscle turned on to be wide compared to being narrow. So this is a problem when I run, because if I'm a diehard outdoor runner, which I am, I love running outside. I struggle with the treadmill. So I want to be able to run outside. I enjoy it more. I run longer. I feel better. Then I need to understand what's going on. So you have sort of two choices in this scenario. One, you can know that in your brain and you can try to make a conscious effort to bring those legs to midline when you're trying to run. So get on that line while I try to run. However, that's a difficult thing to do. My son and I tried that last weekend. We ran in car tire paths up our trail, which already is a gravel trail, so that makes it unsteady to start with. And then truly trying to bring that leg to midline when everything in your brain is saying stay wide and be safe, it was a real struggle for a run. So that's difficult to do. So I can do different bouts while I run of trying to do better about coming to midline. But more importantly, I need to really focus on flexibility if I'm gonna be an outdoor runner right now. Because what happens is when I try to be stiffer, your brain creates stiffness by holding on at your hip flexor, holding on at your glute and IT band, and holding on at your calf and hamstring so that I land more rigidly and I can control that. That repetitive rigid landing can create more compression at my hip, more irritation or compression at my patellar tendon, more compression and irritations at shin and plantar fascia or the arch of my shoe. So flexibility-wise, I need to make sure that I'm really working on the outside of my hip and trunk so that if I'm running short, and wide, that I come home or before I run, so I recommend before and after, one foot crossed over the other foot and big reach over and come back, big reach over and come back. If you want to be more aggressive with that stretch, I can hang on to a doorway and step across, or hang on to the edge of the wall. So I'm going to hang on, step across, come back, hang on, step across, and come back. So I get a little bigger traction stretch through that side. I also need to make sure that I'm doing a really good job of keeping my calves and ankles stretched out, because I'm going to land really flat and stiff. So if I want to stretch my ankle out or stretch my calf out, we can go into that typical PE class, 1 foot in front of the other, and shift forward, or 1 foot up on a step and shift forward. But what you need to make sure you do is keep that back foot rotated in. If my leg is tight and it's going to rotate out, if I have a toe out position, then that's going to stretch more through the inside of my arch and put more pressure on my posterior tib. And I don't want to stretch that. I want to stretch out my calf. So I can go 1 foot back, 1 foot forward, but this foot turned in. I can lean forward to stretch that, but then I can also bend this back knee to stretch that soleus, which is another muscle that really, really tries to hold on when I'm running on unlevel surfaces to try to be stable. So, outdoor running, you can still do it. We just have to really take care of lateral hip, we have to really take care of calf, and then finally we really have to take care of hamstring. Because not only am I going to run wider, but I'm going to take a shortened step. And the muscle that controls slowing that leg down to take the next step, or part of my stride length, is my hamstring muscle. So now I can go back to that stretch where I have one leg up, I cross midline, I keep my knee a little bit bent, and I can rotate the top half of my body across that leg, or I can keep that leg across midline. Okay, so on the opposite side of my belly button, pelvis turned this way, and now I can turn my toe in and out to stretch that, or turn my toe in and reach my trunk around the corner with a bent knee. If I lock that knee out straight, I'm at a higher risk for just going through my low back, and I want that hamstring to do, or I want to mobilize that hamstring. So, outdoor running, appreciate the fact that your steps are wider and your steps are shorter. And embrace that in taking care of yourself by making sure that we really work lateral hip and trunk mobility, that we really work deep calf stabilizers, and that we really work or mobilize hamstrings both before you're going to run and after you're going to run, and you're going to feel much better getting through this long, cold winter.